How much would you be willing to pay for a single ice cube? $1? $10? $100? I'd say $1,000 per cube. It may seem extravagant to the average person, but for the ultra-wealthy, it's a small price to pay for a taste of luxury. But why would anyone pay such a price when you can just get it from your freezer for pennies, if not less? Arctic Ice is not your typical ice provider. They source their ice directly from the ancient glaciers in the fjords of Greenland. Once harvested, this ice is then transported to Dubai, where it finds its way into the glasses of exclusive bars, creating the ultimate drink experience for the ultra-wealthy. While the allure of adding a piece of ancient glacier to your cocktail may be tempting, questions about the hidden cost of environmental impact may arise. Critics raise concerns about the political, ecological consequences of harvesting glacial ice for profit. In a world grappling with the effects of global warming, some argue that our focus should be on addressing climate change rather than profiteering from the sale of glacier ice extraction. Is the pursuit of luxury worth the potential environmental toll? Are we destroying humanity one ice cube at a time? We are about to explore the narrative of the delicate balance between opulence, sustainability, and safety of the ever-evolving world of ice. Welcome to the City of Dreams, where the extraordinary becomes an everyday affair. Get ready for an unforgettable journey to the dazzling jewel of the Middle East, Dubai. Planning your dream vacation has never been easier. Head to trip.com and let the adventures begin. From flights to hotels and activities, trip.com has you covered. With trip.com, you can choose from a variety of luxury hotels that fits your style and budget. Indulge in the lap of luxury as you embark on your adventure in Dubai. If you're craving a different kind of adventure, trip.com has you covered here too. Consider the pristine wilderness of Greenland, a land of magic and ice. Whether it's the modern marvels of Dubai or the scenic beauty of Greenland, the choice is yours. Explore the world with Trip.com and make the memories last a lifetime. Start your adventure today with Trip.com and use our link below to help support our channel. In the early 19th century, ice was not valued as a commodity until two brothers from Boston, William and Frederick Tudor, saw its potential. As the brothers enjoyed the rare luxury of cold beverages and ice cream at a family picnic overlooking a frozen pond, they joked with each other about selling ice to the colonists in the West Indies. This idea stuck with Frederick and led him to change the world's perception of ice. Frederick convinced William to embark on a venture to ship ice from New England to the Caribbean. The plan was bold, with the goal of creating a monopoly on ice in the French island of Martinique. Undeterred by naysayers and unable to find a willing ship in Boston, Frederick spent $5,000 to purchase his own ship and set sail for the West Indies. Although the ice arrived in Martinique in perfect condition, they didn't sell a single ice cube. No one wanted to buy it. William was disappointed and pulled out of the partnership. The following winter, Frederick, unfazed by his first failure, drummed up enough money to send another shipment of ice to the West Indies. This time, Frederick would learn from his mistakes. He used all kinds of tactics to sell the value of ice to the public. One way was the first one's free pitch, where he would bring a cooler of chilled beverages to the dinner table. Initially met with scoffs, people inadvertently fell in love with the refreshing experience of ice. Frederick went further by convincing barkeeps to offer chilled drinks at the same price as regular ones, conducting experiments to see which one would become more popular. He also reached out to restaurants teaching them how to make ice cream, and collaborated with doctors and hospitals to demonstrate the benefits of using ice to cool feverish patients. And these tactics worked. Frederick created a thirst that people didn't even know they had. His marketing turned ice into a sensational value and forever changed the way society viewed it. The Iceman Cometh was born. By the year 1821, Frederick Tudor's ice business was thriving, with a growing demand for his products in cities like Savannah, Charleston, New Orleans, and even Havana. However, to solidify and streamline his operation, Tudor sought the expertise of an innovative foreman, Nathaniel Wythe, in 1826. Nathaniel Wythe revolutionized the ice harvesting process with his innovative methods. Using a horse-drawn plow, he effectively cut the ice into large grids, significantly speeding up the harvesting process. Implementing an assembly line process, laborers would then saw the blocks apart and place them into canals, allowing them to float downstream. A conveyor belt was used to lift the blocks with the water, transporting them to towering ice houses where they would be stacked up to 80 feet high. Tudor's innovations were so successful that 3 decades later he earned the moniker of the Ice King, shipping nearly 12,000 tons of ice around the globe. However, the ice industry's golden era was short-lived. The advent of electric freezers and refrigerators in households marked the beginning of its decline. These modern-day appliances provided people with the convenience of making ice at home for cheap and eliminating the need for expensive shipping of ice across the country and overseas. Let's fast forward to 2022, almost 2 centuries after Tudor's first assembly line of ice harvesting, and when we all thought the ice industry was dead, the Arctic Ice, a Greenlandic startup company, has been harvesting chunks of ice in the fjords of Greenland and shipping them to luxury restaurants, cafes, and bars in Dubai. Let's introduce Malik Rasmussen, co-founder of Arctic Ice, and see what he has to say.
Yes, you can now go to a bar or restaurant in Dubai and buy a drink with ice which has never been polluted by any human being. The purest ice you will ever taste.
The fjords around Greenland are usually full of icebergs that have broken off glaciers which are connected to Greenland's ice sheets. The co-founder of Arctic Ice, Malik Rasmussen, claims that the glacial ice has been compressed over millennia, resulting in a product free of air bubbles and with a slower melting rate compared to regular ice. In Greenland, the ice is basically really old snow. When it snows on the land, the snow doesn't always melt. Instead, more snow falls on top of the old snow each year. This keeps happening for hundreds and thousands of years until the snow becomes very tall and heavy. Eventually, it even gets squished together and turns into a solid piece of ice. Sometimes this ice can be more than 3 kilometers thick. This ice from deep within Greenland is super clean because it's formed a long time ago, before humans were even around to pollute it. Arctic ice has been frozen for over 100,000 years. The parts of the ice sheets that hasn't been touched by soil or polluted by humans are the cleanest ice on the planet. In Greenland's capital, Nuuk, Arctic Ice uses a special boat with a crane to explore the surrounding fjords. They are on a mission to find a specific kind of ice, also known as black ice, which hasn't been touched on the top or bottom of the glacier. Glaciers call it black ice because it's see-through and hard to see in the water. When they find it, they carefully lift it up with the crane, put it in blue plastic crates, and take it back to Nuuk. In Nuuk, there's a refrigerated shipping container, ready for the long journey of 65 days and 13,000 miles. The filled crates are sent to Denmark by the shipping company M-Skip. Then the ice is moved to another ship that takes the containers to Dubai. As the trend of high-quality, carefully selected ice grows in cocktail culture, Arctic Ice's story reflects the changing desires of the super-rich. However, sending ancient glacier ice to a desert city like Dubai raises ethical and environmental questions. Even though a rose would smell just as sweet by any other name, the cocktails in fancy Dubai bars wouldn't be as amazing without glacier ice from Greenland. Let's welcome French geologist Heidi Sylvester, who works at the International Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Program. Let's see what she thinks about this.
This ice is the purest and cleanest water on the planet. It is truly pretty magical because such old ice melts very slowly. It also has these air bubbles that kind of pop up when you put it in a glass. The slow melting property and purity of the ice are not good enough reasons to send it from Greenland to Dubai, more than 7,000 kilometers away. It can only be detrimental for the environment, even though the company is trying very hard to offset its carbon footprint as much as possible in the first place. I have a feeling that they might be underestimating the negative impact of their activities on the environment. Apart from the carbon footprint associated with the exporting of glacier ice, Greenland is one of the planet's fastest warming regions. A study by NASA showed that climate change has caused Greenland's ice sheet to lose 20% more ice than previously thought. Greenland is losing 270 billion tons of ice mass every year. Researchers have indicated Greenland's glaciers are melting 7 times as fast as they did in the 90s and have passed the point of no return, dooming the massive ice sheet to disappear.
Why is it a bad idea to take ice from Greenland and use it in drinks in Dubai? Well, besides being unnecessary and harming the environment, there's a more serious threat with a direct and imminent impact on us. As the ice melts, bacteria and microbes that haven't been seen for hundreds and thousands of years could be released. These tiny organisms were frozen as a kind of natural time capsule, and now they might be returned to the environment. Of course, you're adding super pure ice that's over 100,000 years old to your cocktail. But what other things might you be unknowingly consuming that you can't see? John Pesciu, a professor from Montana State University and pioneer in the study of microbiology, has said,
"These microorganisms have a strategy for survival. They preserve their genetic material by staying frozen until conditions are right for them to come back to life. It's like they're recycling their genetic code."
Scott Rogers, an evolutionary biologist and professor in the Department of Biology Sciences at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, has also said,
"There are some possible adaptations by surviving in ice that could be advantageous to these pathogens. For instance, a virus becomes unable to cause infections when its host population builds up antibodies to it. So if viruses can survive in the ice, they could come back at a time when the population is naive again and hasn't been exposed to that particular genotype."
Could this be Jurassic Park on ice? No. Fortunately, the scientific consensus suggests that while there may be microbial release from melting ice, the actual risk of a widespread pandemic is currently minimal. Dr. Dirk Knotts, professor at Institute of Oceanology, has said,
"Snow, particularly in remote Arctic regions, often lacks significant organic matter. Viruses need a living host or suitable organic material to thrive, and the extreme cold temperatures in Greenland are generally not favorable for their survival outside of a host. The extreme cold and lack of organic matter in the ice make it an inhospitable environment for viruses. Permafrost is soil or underwater sediment that remains frozen for extended periods. While permafrost can preserve ancient viruses, it is important to note that these viruses are often dormant and not necessarily active or infectious."
We have a permit from the government of Greenland to export up to 14,000 tons of ice per year. So when we reach our maximum production within the next few years, the production will be equivalent to 0.0000005% of the ice that falls into the ocean every year. Our carbon footprint is very low because we use existing cargo ships that sails back to Denmark from Greenland almost empty, and we use other existing cargo ships from Denmark to the rest of the world.
Every single ice taken up from the ocean is tested for contamination and bacteria in a laboratory to make sure that they're pure.
It doesn't matter how convincing Arctic ice's claims are, stating that it is safe to consume and not harming the environment. Transporting ice cubes across the globe is still insane. It involves unnecessary resource consumption, contributes to carbon emissions, and undermines local ecosystems. All of this work is just to ensure that the drink doesn't dilute. This is absurd. Just like in the 1800s when Tudor turned ice into a craze among average Americans, Arctic ice is now creating the same perceived value for glacier ice. It is essential to consider not only the historical echoes, but also the environmental and ethical considerations associated with the extraction and commercialization of our natural resources.